taping?
Yep, should be. I hope so.
Okay. I'm Andrea Springer. I am teaching lesson 3 for the fundamentals in sentence writing strategy. Okay. Go ahead and get started. First of all, let's review what we talked about in our last lesson. We're going to talk about the PENS strategy. And so hoping everybody remembers this. So let's just review. The P, read what that says to me. Pick a formula. E, explore words to fit the formula. N, note the words. S, search and check. Okay. Now let's review the search and check step that we talked about. Remember, the search and check is this last step in the PEN strategy. Okay. So, A, ask, is there a verb? So we want to know, is there a verb in the sentence? Every sentence has to have a verb. R, we wrote out the subject. That's by asking who or what's doing this. We want to know what the subject or who the subject is. And the final step, which I think is kind of the tricky one, but we'll walk through it, is, okay, key in on the beginning, the ending, and the meaning. Okay, and so does everyone remember what that means? What do we mean by the beginning? We're talking about capital letter, okay, the ending, punctuation, and the meaning. We always want to know, does this sentence make sense? I'm going to place this up here so we can look at it as we need to. I should have brought tape and I did not. We'll review it as we need to. Okay, so let's talk about this lesson. Okay, today we're going to talk about a special kind of verb. It's called linking verbs. Okay, so yesterday you learned a strategy for writing and checking sentences. So far, if you've worked with sentences containing a certain verb, those are called action verbs. Today you're going to learn about another kind of verb called a linking verb. You will also learn to find verbs and subjects in sentences using this. Remember this search and check method. Okay? Okay. And you are also going to learn how to write sentences with linking verbs. Okay? So, I need everyone to take notes. I'm going to use the slant strategy as you learn about linking verbs. And before I do that, let me hand out a folder for each one of you. And a pencil. If you do not have a pencil, let me know. I have some extras. Everyone's good? Okay. Okay, let's review the definition for an action verb. Does everyone remember what is an action verb? Can anyone tell me what an action verb is? Cassie?
When you're doing something, like running, or it tells you about the subject.
It is, yes. An action verb it's a verb where you're doing something. You are running, you are sleeping, or maybe your mind is doing something, you're thinking about something, you're pondering something. So, what are two kinds of actions that those action verbs can show? With an action, like running or jumping would be body action, and the mind action, which is what I mentioned, the thinking, the pondering. So an action can be something a person does with their body or something a person does with their mind. So let's talk about what are some examples of an action verb where someone can do something with their body.
Eating.
Eating.
Jumping.
Okay. Eating and jumping. Good examples. What about some actions a person can do with their mind?
Liking.
Liking. Good example.
Thinking.
Thinking. Very good. Okay, so we're going to talk about another verb. This is called a linking verb. So, let's read that definition together, shall we? The linking verb. These are words that link the subject to another word that describes the subject. Okay, there are 9 linking verbs. These are pretty much the only linking verbs we're going to come across. 6 of them are the ones we're going to use the most. So those are, let's read those together. Am, are, is, was, were, seem, be, been, become. Very good. So linking verbs are words that link the subject of a sentence to a word that describes the subject. And I said there are 9 linking verbs. Okay. So let's look at a sentence containing a linking verb to see how it links the subject to another word. We'll erase our action verb here. All right. Okay. Simon was old. That's our sentence. Okay. So can you look at your list of linking verbs? Let's look at that list of linking verbs. And can you tell me what the linking verb is in this sentence? Here's Simon was old. Was. Good. Yes. Was links our subject. Our subject is Simon to a word that describes Simon. Okay, so Simon's old. Okay. Old is a word that describes Simon. Okay, so the two words, Simon and old, are linked together or connected by this linking verb. This word was. Okay, so when a word links a subject to another word that describes the subject, Simon's our subject, we say it shows the state of being of the subject. And as a linking verb helps the reader understand what the subject is like or the state of the subject's being. Okay, so let's review. To summarize, we have learned about 2 types of verbs. What do we call them? Action and linking. Very good. Action and linking verbs. So I'm going to show you a definition that includes both types of these. Okay. So just a general definition for the word verb. A word that shows the action or state of being of the subject. Let's read that again. A verb is a word that shows the action or state of being of the subject. Okay. So now that you know something about linking verbs, I'm going to show you how you might use the search and check strategy. Okay. This last part of the pen strategy, the search and check. Strategy on a sentence containing a linking verb. So pay close attention because I will ask you to do this on sentences containing linking verbs in a minute. All right, so as you might remember, what's our first step? Let me back up a little bit. Ask, is there a verb? Yes. Do you notice we ask about the verb before we ask about the subject? We're going to do that every time. Ask about a verb. So, as you might remember, in the first part of the search and check, you ask yourself a question about the verb. We're going to change our question a bit to include linking verbs. Our question will now be, is there an action or linking verb? Notice when I'm writing these, I'm going to write these as complete sentences with beginning, capital letter, and end punctuation. Now I forgot my sentence. All right. verb definition over here. Actually, let's put the linking verb side, because we're gonna want to review those. You know what, I'm gonna put these in front of you so that you can check these as needed. Okay. So, I'm gonna write, is there an action or a linking verb in our sentence? So, I'm gonna write a new sentence here. Got our sentence. Jennifer is very beautiful. Okay? So, let's look at this sentence. I'm going to ask myself, this is what I'd be thinking. Okay, is there an action or a linking verb here? Some kind of a verb, all right? So, is Jennifer an action?
No, the person.
She's a person, very good. So she's not something I can do with my body or mind. She's a person. So is Jennifer a linking verb? I think you already answered that.
No.
No, she's not. She's not a linking verb. And if you're not sure, just check your linking verbs. You don't see Jennifer on there. She's not a linking verb. Okay. So is in action.
Not an action.
It's not an action, correct? So is this a linking verb? Let's check our list. Do we have is on here?
On our list.
Yes, we do. So I'm going to put a V. We've got our verb. So far in our sentence, we've got a verb. Okay, now that we've got out the verb, what do we do?
Root out the
subject.
subject.
Read out the subject. Okay, so what question do I need to ask to do that?
Who or what?
Who or what is? Oh, you guys are so good. You know this. So who or what is? Jennifer is. Okay, that makes sense. Beautiful is. That doesn't make sense, does it? Okay, so Jennifer must be the subject of the sentence. Everyone agree? Okay. We got our subject and our verb. Okay. So, now that we've got our subject and verb, let's look at our key in on the beginning, the end, and the meaning. Okay, what about our beginning? How is our capital letter look? Do we have a capital letter?
It's capital.
Okay, so does our beginning look okay?
Yes.
All right. How about our ending? Do we have any ending punctuation? Yes, we do. So, good. Now, the meaning. Does this sentence make sense? Jennifer is very beautiful.
Yes.
Sure, Jennifer can be beautiful. That makes sense. Okay. So, now it's time for you to try doing the same three parts of the search and check step. So I want you to grab your red folders and take out learning sheet 4A. 4A on the top. Grab my copy. So the first sentence should be Jackie is funny on that. Okay? So let's take turns doing these together. Look at the first sentence on this learning sheet. Okay, so what's that first sentence? You will ask to check whether this is a complete sentence. Would you mind reading that for me, Ann?
Jackie is funny.
Jackie is funny. Okay. So, we're going to ask, is there a verb? So is there an action or a linking verb in the sentence?
Yes.
Okay, and what is that?
Is.
Is. Okay, so can you please put a V on top of the is? That'll show that we've got our verb. Okay, so that's something you can do with your body or your mind, or it's a linking verb, correct? What about that first word in the sentence?
Jackie.
Jackie. Okay. All right. Now, what do you think our subject might be in the sentence?
Jackie.
Who or what's doing the is? Jackie? Okay. So everyone agreed Jackie is the subject. Jackie's the subject. So put an S above Jackie. We've got our subject and we've got our verb. All right. So we've got the verb.